Friday, May 8th, 2020, MONERO 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So yesterday was a significant day in that we saw the market price in a negative Fed funds rate before the end of this year. And that led to a big move up in gold, silver especially, and even Bitcoin. Gold was up about 2%, which is unusual for gold. Silver was up about 3.5%, I think. And Bitcoin, we've touched 10,000 in the last 24 hours. I even got a call from my old friend who hired me back in 1992 to come and work for him in the city. He still contacts me regularly. We talk about the markets. He's still working in the city, but his business has shrunk quite a bit. But he was telling me it was very significant. And he follows gold as well. He got involved in gold a few years ago. And I think his family got involved much longer ago. He's more of a bond guy, though. He likes bonds. But we were talking, and he gave me some statistics that I could have looked myself, but it was nice of him to give me the data. So the 2-year yield yesterday, for example, dropped to a low of 0.136%. And that was the lowest level since September 19th, 2011, when the 2-year yield touched 0.155. If you remember, 2011, September, that was when gold made an all-time high. So that's very significant in of itself as well. The 5-year yield as well touched a new all-time low of 0.3. So what about the Fed funds rate? How can the market price in a negative Fed funds rate? Well, the way it's done is through the futures market. And as many of you might know, I used to work as a futures and options broker. The market that I covered the most were government bond futures and interest rate futures. So I used to trade euro-dollar futures, and that's not the currency. That's the future contract that prices future LIBOR rates, euro-dollar rates, 3-month euro-dollar rate. But there's also something called a Fed funds future. And the way it works, just like the euro-dollar future, let's say, for example, that the market sees Fed funds rate at 10%. So that future will be priced at 90. So 100, if it trades at 100, it means that rates are at 0. So yesterday, the December Fed funds future traded up to 100.02. So slightly negative. It's not a lot, but it's all about the fact that it did. So as you can see here this morning, we are at 100.02, the December Fed funds. It trades almost 24 hours, this future. We're right on the highs, so still implying the negative rate. So that's how the market has implied a negative Fed funds target. Of course, it's the Federal Reserve that sets that target. And so how does this market work? Well, it's just like you and me trading. And if it's 100.01 bid at 02, if I go and buy it, the market is going to imply it 100.02. So it's just a market. People buy and sell. And that's how it works. And it's in the futures. It's in the CME as well. So that's why it was so significant. But the other thing as well, my friend was talking about, is that this is driving up the price of corporate bonds. Not just bonds that are near becoming junk, but also high quality corporate bonds like Microsoft and other big companies. And what are people doing? And I was surprised that my friend said he's doing it as well. His family has quite a bit of money. He's quite wealthy family, so he's able to do this. He's actually borrowing In the euro dollar market, euro dollar rate as well has come off, according to him, from around 1% to less than 0.5%, I think. So what these people are doing, they're borrowing in the short term, and with the proceeds of that borrowing, they're buying bonds that are yielding more. It's called a carry trade. I personally think it's very dangerous, but he he knows what he's doing. He's adult enough. He's quite cautious, actually, I would say, as an individual. So this is what's going on, and that's another reason why the stock market right now is moving higher. When you don't get a return, and when the market is even pricing in negative rates for the reserve currency of the world, you're going to see this. And gold and silver and Bitcoin, of course, benefited from that. So let's quickly look at the chart of gold. Let's look at the daily chart. So I've drawn a little pennant here. It looks like we could break out soon, who knows, or we could stay within the range that we've seen. But it looks like right now 1725 could be a key resistance. So gold yesterday traded, well, in the last couple of days it had gotten down to around 1680, and now we're at 1720. So gold did rally really well. And as I said, the last time we've seen the 2-year yield at these levels was when gold made an all-time high. Silver, of course, has a lot to catch up. We had, of course, that big sharp drop in March when silver got almost down to 11. 16, really, if we are able to break up and trade to 16 in silver, we could see silver really outperform. I noticed a couple of days ago on Wednesday when gold was down like quite a bit, I think it was 2%. Silver was actually unchanged or even a little higher. So I think we're starting to see maybe silver starting to outperform gold, and that will be a very good signal, I think, for precious metals. And I've said that quite a few times. So there is a probability. It's not certain, but it looks like we could be seeing that. So we need to keep an eye on the gold-silver ratio. And that would be very positive overall for the precious metals. I might start looking into the mining stocks. There could be opportunity there as well, but I'm not going to go into it right now because I haven't looked at it for a while. I need to do a little bit of research. And cryptocurrency as well. Bitcoin did very well. I don't think we've reached the high of the last 3 months, but Bitcoin is looking good. I see here that it traded just above 10,000 in the last 24 hours. We're now at 9,800. Today, of course, is a important day for the market and the economy in terms of statistics. We've got non-farm payroll, the U.S. Jobs data. Expectation is a drop of 22 million non-farm payroll. People will blame this, of course, on the health crisis, but I think we've only got the politicians to blame for this, because they're the ones who have decided to bring the world to a halt because of something that honestly hasn't really killed more people than other things. The unemployment rate is expected at 16%. What impact could that have on interest rates, especially, let's say, the Fed funds rate? Well, if that number is a lot worse in terms of drop, and if the unemployment rate is a lot higher, you could see the Fed funds future, the December Fed funds future, trade above, even more above 100, could go to 100.1. The way to find that, I'll put that actually a link to that page in the description so you can keep track of the Fed funds rate. The dollar seems to be holding on steadily versus the fiat currencies. My friend, he called me fairly late last night, and he seems to think that the dollar will drop quite a bit versus the fiat currencies. And I told him, I said, frankly, I don't care, because I actually think the fiat currencies, they take turns. What you need to keep an eye on is really how these currencies do against gold. And I noticed that yesterday we got almost up to the 1400 level in gold in pounds. So let's see where we're now. We're at 1388. I think the record high is just above 1400. So we're very close in all the currencies. Well, the dollar not so much, but I think if we break 1750, for example, today, it's possible if we have a very weak number, we could see gold test the all-time high very soon. So there we go. Let's finish off with this alternative investment I was talking about. Well, a few weeks ago, I was doing the live stream and someone said to me to look at my Hive wallet, HIVE. And I had no idea what that was because I haven't been following closely the cryptocurrency market. Some of you might know that I post my videos and have been doing it for 4 years on Steemit. But Steemit recently, their CEO sold his share to another company. So a lot of the people involved, the witnesses, the people who run the Steemit blockchain, they kind of broke away from Steemit, and they created Hive, which basically looks exactly like Steemit, but it's called Hive. And I hadn't realized that I have a Hive account because I have a Steemit account. And so thanks to this guy who told me to look at this, I logged into my Hive blog and wallet, and I saw that I had quite a bit of Hive. And at the time, the price of Hive had gone from like 10 cents a few months ago, and it was trading at 90 cents. So the Hive that I could sell, because I also have Hive as Hive power that you can't really sell, you have to power it down. But the Hive that I had, that had been powered down, so the Hive that I had that I could actually exchange for Bitcoin and then fiat was about $1,800. So it was like a Christmas present, money that I didn't realize I had. So I went and actually sold the Hive for Bitcoin, and then I put the Bitcoin into my wallet. And then the next day I decided to buy with that money, because I have a Wirex card, I decided to buy some fine wine. And I bought a case, 6 bottles. So here it is. It's a Tuscan red wine. It's a very good quality red wine. I won't be drinking it anytime soon, and it's more of a long-term investment. So I had a look this morning about the tax implications here in the UK for wine capital gains tax. And what it says is that wine is chattel and it's a wasting asset, so there is no capital gains. But it does get tricky though. If the wine is kept for more than 50 years, then it's not considered a wasting asset. I don't think this one is kept for more than 50 years, even though I won't probably be drinking it for the next few years. Am I concerned about the capital gains tax? No, not really. But so I thought that was interesting. to take that money that I didn't even know I had and buy something tangible, something of very good quality. And in the end of the day, even if the price goes down, even if there's no buyers of that wine, which I think is doubtful in the future, you can always drink it. That's what I did. I'm not saying you should do it, but you might have another interest. You might like old motorbikes or old cars. Who knows? So there are other opportunities out there. It's not just the stock market or even precious metals sometimes, or real estate, also wine. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms here below. I wish you all a great Friday. Take care. Bye.